Welcome to part 2 of iHeal's UI Addon Pack setup series. In this video we will be covering setting up the chat box, sexy map, and bartender. I had a few individuals ask me about moving and setting up their chat box. You do not need a special add-on to move or size your chat box. However, I use Pratt for changing fonts and managing my chat box. Pratt and Chatter are two add-ons that are practically the same thing. I use Pratt because it works with WoW Instant Messenger. Pratt gives me all sorts of extra nifties such as invite links and copy-paste functions. You can use Pratt to completely redo what your chat box looks like inside the frame. Now we're going to set up Sexy Map. As you can see, there are plenty of designs you can choose from. Personally, I like the burning sun for this setup. Make sure you turn off the clamp to screen option so that you can move the map into the corner. I use Move Anything to get rid of the title that is normally found at the top of the map. Unfortunately, those settings are for all my characters, so I didn't show you that in this video. It's very simple though. Just open Move Anything by pressing Exit to find that option at the bottom of the list. At the Minimap section, you'll find the Minimap title and you can just select Hide. Or you can keep it there. I don't choose to use it. Using Sexy Map, you can lock and unlock button dragging on the minimap. Make sure that you don't cover the areas where the Dungeon Finder or mail flags go. You can move those, but you need to get them to show up first. Also, when you move the zoom in or zoom out buttons, they need to be active. The simple way to do that is to keep the map from being completely zoomed in or out. As you can see, I also take some time to get rid of a lot of minimap buttons. Even with the minimap buttons fading out, I just don't like to have a lot on there. The fade option in the Sexy Map menu is very simple to find. /bar is going to open up the bartender menu. We're now going to work on getting those out of the way. First thing I'm going to do is turn off the minimap button. Then I'll uncheck the lock bars option so that I can move them around. One thing that I really love about Bartender is that you can literally do just about anything with your bars. The configuration that I use barely uses any of the options that are available. I highly encourage that you take some time to find out all the uses of bartenders. You can do things such as create click-through invisible buttons so that you can keybind whatever you want. Right now we're just going to get things out of the way so we can really start working. Alright. Bar 1 is the main bar. Remember to check your profile to see if you're setting up each character individually. Okay, I'm going to start by scaling down my bars. I will keep this bar slightly larger than the rest of the bars, and I'll mess with the size a few times, but I do end up keeping it at 0.7 for the main bar. As you can see, you can also change the alpha. That is just the fancy word for how transparent it is. If you want to make the bar completely invisible all the time, you play with that. I'll show you how to fade here in a little bit. You can play with the padding to stretch out or close in your bars. You can even change how many buttons will show up on a bar. Now we're going to fix up the rest of the bars that I keep underneath. You'll see that I actually lose count at 5 bars, but bar 5 and 6 will be put off to the side. It's kind of like a puzzle. For bars 2, 3, and 4, I will set the scale to 0.6 and place them underneath bar 1. You can type in 0.6 or whatever you want into that section, so you don't have to worry about messing with the scale to get it exact. Bartender is probably the most time-consuming thing to set up simply because you start from scratch and there are so many options, but it's completely worth it. Anyway, bar 5 and 6 I'll make very small and I'll place into that pocket on the side. I put things such as my Hearthstone, macros, professions, and other buttons that I don't use in combat but do have distinctive colored icons. I remember them by their general color and the placement in the bar. Don't put things here where you want to see text or numbers that show up on an icon because you won't be able to see it. If you choose not to use decursive and you do all of your cleansing from HealBot or another similar mod, it opens another option for bar 5 and 6. You can make them completely vertical and place them in the right sidebar. I do that for all of my non-cleansing characters, and I also make them fade out, and that works very nicely. Alright, now I'm actually having some problems with the pet bar and the DK pet, but I'm going to show you how to set it up. It will work. It was just a problem on my end, and actually once I logged out and back in, pet bar worked fine. Besides, the only pet that Priest need to worry about is the Shadow Fiend, and he now does his special attack automatically, so having this specific bar is not very important. You might even choose to just have it turned off completely. Anyway, just make it very small, put it in a pocket that you like. Just take some time to adjust things, move them around, and get a feel for how you like it. Don't forget, Priest, to set up your stance bar if you are a dual spec Shadow. Same for the Druids. You can also see that the bars like to clamp together. You can turn that off somewhere in the options, but I prefer to keep it on to help with lining everything up. Sometimes it can get a tad annoying, but I don't find turning it off is worth it. Looking at Bartender menu, you'll also see that there's the third tab called Positioning. You can go in there and use the Y-X axis and numbers to perfectly align and move your bars. Remember, Y-axis is up and down, and X-axis is left to right. Now, on to the vehicle bar. For some reason, I've noticed lately that the vehicle bar pops up in the original location while you're moving the green frame. Don't worry about it. Wherever you place the frame is where it will actually show up in-game. It's just a strange glitch that's going on right now, and I'm sure they'll fix it in a patch to the mod. Again, just find a spot where it won't overlap a bunch of things and you can put it there. You can mess with size and stuff as you wish. I really recommend that you don't have this bar fade out though. And now we're going to work with the XP bar. On your 80s, you're going to want to swap this out for the reputation bar. I'm going to scale it down and put it in the bottom, pushing against the lower right hand corner. The main thing when you do this is to make sure that you don't have anything hanging off the screen. So just be careful with the clamping to make sure that it's all visible. Alright, after that is set, you may want to have the bar fade out. That's what I'm going to do with this. Simply check the box and set the alpha to 0. The default settings are already set for mouse over, so you won't have to mess with anything else. Button locking is the same as the option in WoW. If you select this, you will need to shift click to move things out of their place in the bars. It's an option that I like to keep on because I'm always accidentally throwing away buttons if I don't. Now, you can see that on this Death Knight, I don't use up all the available spots in the bar. However, if you look at the screenshots, including the add-on pack, my priest Elhonna is definitely making most of the retail space. Most of those are keybound, and actually, if you see on the bartender menu, there is a wonderful tool there. Just click on the key binding button, mouse over the button, and press the key combination you want bound to it. I love this option, especially for the more advanced gamers who like to keep their keybound options faded out. Right-click self-cast. You're going to want to make sure you have this enabled. It's going to free up all your alt-casting keybinds and you can use them for other things. Of course, that is if you use your mouse heavily like I do. I have the SteelSeries WoW gaming mouse, so I'm a bit more of a heavy mouse user than a keybinder. Anyway, right-click self-cast does just what it says. You can right-click on any button, and if it is able to be cast on yourself, it will do so without changing your target. It's the exact same thing as alt-casting, but with your mouse. As you can see, there's also a way to turn off tooltips during combat. I tried that for a while. Don't do it. It's really annoying. Also, I use Move Anything to move the tooltips into different locations. Just do it the same way I explained with the minimap title bar, except instead of hiding it, you're going to select Move, you move it around, and then you deselect that button, and tooltips will show up where you put them. For the micro menu, I just scale this down, make it vertical, and I throw it off into the corner. I would also suggest making it fade out. For the bags, I never really use this button because I have it bound to my mouse, so I just make it super small, fade it out, and put it in the corner. Sometimes I'll keep it completely invisible, but for now I'm going to keep it on the fade out option. As you can see, I'm using a mod for my bags. I used to use BagNod, which is also amazing, but I decided I really like the auto sorting that Teabag creates. There are a lot of options for Teabag, I just used the default. All I did was scale it down a bit. Thank you for tuning into part 2 of iHeal's UI Add-on Setup series. Stay tuned for part 3 and don't forget to visit iHeal.5gigs.net for updates. The add-on pack used in this series can be found at curse.com by following the link in the sidebar.